little bit later. Okay, so what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be going over the orientation for this first class meeting for this first week of the course. If we are disconnected from this particular session for more than 10 minutes or so, check back later on your Canvas site for the session information. Hopefully that won't happen today. We've been having good luck so far. Okay, so can everyone hear me okay? Please just chat real quickly if you can, or speak up. You are probably muted now, so unmute. Okay, you can? Good. I'm seeing some yeses. All right, great there. All right, so let's go ahead and keep going. All right, so what we're going to be doing today is doing the orientation. More people are still coming in, so I'll wait for a few more seconds, but I think we have a majority of everybody that we're going to have. So let's go ahead and get started then. All right, so today, as part of the agenda, what we're going to be doing is looking at getting a little bit of practice around Zoom, but I think that might be unnecessary since most people are very familiar with the system by now. Then we'll do some introductions. I'll start off with introductions, and then you guys will have some introductions of name, birthplace, your major, in your plans, things like that. And then we'll spend some time going through a syllabus walkthrough, looking at specific items that need to be clear for everyone to understand where they are in the course and what the expectations are. And then we'll do a little bit of a view at our Canvas site to walk around that, do a run through so you know where certain components are of the Canvas site. And then we'll have a brief psychology orientation to sort of kick off this particular last part of the session. And then I'll open it up for a more formal Q&A to see if there are any questions at that time. So before we get delayed any further, let me go ahead and start the introductions. Well, before introduction, we start about Zoom. As I said, most of you are probably familiar with it already. You know where your mute icon is, as well as the stop video. You can share a video or not, and then the mute to make sure that you're able to be heard if you need to say something to me. Also, at this time, I think most people have it, but at this time, in the chat box, type in the last movie you saw at a theater. I'll wait for you guys to start responding to that. Okay, I see we share some movies in common. I think I saw the last movie was probably the last Avengers movie actually at a theater. That's becoming a rare things these days with the pandemic that's going on. I see a few others I haven't seen. That's cool. All right, so one other thing too, thumbs up if you had or have pets. I will assume that you enjoy your experience of having pets. That's going to be under the reactions. It too, okay. Yes, that was the question about pets. Occasionally, as we do these sessions, you may hear a little bit of craziness behind me. I'm actually in what we call the cat room in our house. We have lots of animals here, dogs and cats, and sometimes they get a little bit rowdy. So if you ever hear a bunch of scratching and clawing, that's probably what's going on. I'm being assaulted by a bunch of cats. So I'm right next to the cat door as well. Okay, well, somebody wishes they had a cat room. Yeah, well, I wish I had one too, but they also invade the rest of the house as well. Okay, so the idea is that we'll be using this system throughout the semester, and hopefully we'll be very comfortable with the system by chatting or speaking up. I want to make sure that we have a feeling in the classroom that we can do that in order to make sure that we're comfortable having the conversations that we will have in this course. Sometimes they may be a little bit sensitive as well. Okay, so moving on. We want to make some quick introductions. The way we're going to do this is I'll introduce myself first, following the format that we have here, and then I will hopefully not massacre your name, but I'll uh, call out the name that I have on my particular roster. And if you wouldn't mind unmuting yourself at that time and giving us a little bit of background about yourself, the pronunciation of your name, where you're from, or hometown, current major, or your future plan. So let me go ahead and start off real quickly with a little bit of my background so you understand who's teaching you this semester. So first of all, my name is Anthony Hubert, Hubert. I am a North Carolina native. I am from the Raleigh, North Carolina area. So I haven't, I've been away for a while, came back about a decade ago, I graduated from North Carolina State University, East Carolina University, where I got my master's degree, and then got my doctorate from Virginia Commonwealth University in Richmond, Virginia, where I lived there for a few years as well. My area of specialty in psychology is social psychology, as well as industrial organizational psychology. And we'll be talking about IO psychology as well as social psychology a little bit later during this particular course. Okay, so that's me in a nutshell. You can be as quick, a little bit more elaborate if you wish when you introduce yourself. So I'm going to call out a name here and see if that person's here, but also have that person just, if they wouldn't mind, pronounce their name, where they're from, current, major, and/or future plans. Be somewhat brief because we have a few people here in this class. So I'm going to focus first on Belgrave. If Belgrave is present, unmute yourself, and then just give us a quick rundown as to how we pronounce your name, current, major, and/or future plans. Belgrave. Okay, nothing for Belgrave yet? Okay. Biggs.
My name is Treasure Biggs. I'm from Washington, North Carolina, and my major is criminal justice, and I plan on being a detective.
Okay, criminal justice. There is a section that I'll probably talk a little bit about if we have some time. I do applied psychology a little bit later in the course. I used to have a whole section on forensic psychology. I'll try to work some of that in. All right, next we have Broderick.
Hello, my name is Rael. You can call me Ray if that's too
Okay,
difficult, but it's pronounced Rael. I
okay,
was born in Colorado, but I'm from Fayetteville, North Carolina, and my current major is biology.
okay. You said you were born in where?
Colorado.
Colorado. Okay, I thought I heard that. Okay, cool. Welcome. All right, next we have Campbell. All right, Campbell doesn't appear to be here. All right, how about Clark Drew?
Hi, my name is Deja Clark Drew. I was born in Clinton, Maryland, but I'm actually from Raleigh. My
Okay.
current major is pre-law, and I plan to become a lawyer in family court.
All right, great. All right, thank you. Welcome. Copeland. No Copeland. Okay. Uh, I think it's Fridia, Fridia.
Hi, I'm Diane Friday.
Friday, okay.
I was born in New York. My current major, I'm a chemistry major, and my future plan is get my doctorate in analytical chemistry and become and teach on a collegiate level.
All right, great. Sounds good. All right, Fuller.
Hi, my name is Declan Fuller, and I was born in Raleigh, and my current major is psychology, and I want to become a psychologist.
Okay, great. All right, welcome. Galbraith.
My name is Markia Gabbard. I'm from Parkton, North Carolina, and my major is early childhood.
Okay. I lived in Parkton for a while. Welcome. Not much to do in Parkton, by the way. Okay.
Not really.
Okay, so it's still the same when I left it. All right. Is it Iman? I can't pronounce your last name.
Hi, my name is Iman Huertas.
Correctus. Okay.
I was born in Sierra Vista, Arizona,
Okay.
and my current major is animation.
Animation. All right. Cool. Welcome. Jean. Okay. No Jean. Lewis.
Hi, my name is Dereisha Lewis. I'm from Supply, North Carolina, and my major is theater arts.
All right. Great. Welcome. McDuffie.
My name is Shania. I'm from Wilmington, and my major is psychology.
Okay. Welcome. Neros.
Good afternoon. My name is Taylor Naros, and I'm from Champaign, Urbana, and that's in Illinois.
Okay.
And my current major is nursing, and I hope to go on to nurse practitioner school afterwards.
All right. Great. Welcome. Ortiz.
Hi, my name is Giselle Ortiz. I was born in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and I plan on majoring in nursing.
All right. Great. Is it Plaza?
Good afternoon. My name is Daniel Plaza. I'm a psychology major, and I'm from Newark, New Jersey.
Okay, welcome. Richards.
Hey, my name is Ezekiel Richards. I'm from Chicago, Illinois. I was born in Blue Island. I'm a psych major, and my plans for that major is to become a child psychiatrist, or just to keep doing music.
Okay, cool. All right, Richardson Cameron, I believe. Richardson. Okay, Roberts. Okay. Sweeney. Okay. Wallace.
Hi, my name's Faith. I was born in Nebraska, but I'm from Colorado. I am pursuing a double major in psychology and computer engineering, and I'd like to work with artificial intelligence, but later on move to clinical psychology for kids with special abilities.
Great. Sounds like you have a good plan there. All right. Watson. White.
Hi, I'm Lakeria White. I was born in West Palm Beach, Florida. I live in Cameron, North Carolina now, and my major is early childhood.
All right, great. Wilkins. Okay.
Hi, my name is Jakaya Wilkins. I'm from Clinton, North Carolina, and I was born in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and my current major is social work.
Okay, great. Welcome. Williams. Okay.
Hey.
Uh-huh.
Hey, my name is Maisha Williams, and I'm from Wilmington, and my major is social work.
All right, great. Welcome. Young. Young.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Son Young.
Okay.
I'm a criminal justice major, and I'm from Fayetteville, North Carolina.
All right, great. Welcome. All right, and I see that I have a chat for Copeland. I couldn't hear. Can you speak up down, Copeland? Can you, for introductions? Okay. All right. Is there anyone that I missed? I didn't hear from Belgrave, Campbell, Jean, Richardson Cameron, Roberts, Sweeney, Watson. Okay. All right. I'll check on those guys later. Okay, so that's our introductions, and I want to thank you for bearing with me there, getting through that process. When we start our next meeting, what we'll do, we'll just have a chat check-in, and of course, some of you have already responded to the discussion forum for this week already, so you've already done some introductions already. Okay, let's go ahead and get back into the swing of things here. So those were our quick introductions. So let's go ahead and start the syllabus walkthrough. All right, so the syllabus is available to you on your Canvas site. If you haven't already got it, it's going to be there. One of the first things when you log into Canvas, it'll take you to the syllabus page. So in the syllabus walkthrough, we have location information. This just shows my name, what the course is. When I'm on campus, the office building I'm located in is going to be the Butler building. I'm in 241 Suite A. Also notice my office hours, Wednesdays 4 to 6 p.m. There'll be some other office hours available to you as well, but I always try to have a slot available so we can do it by appointment. And usually what we're talking about is a virtual meeting. I have a Zoom link just for office hours so we can meet that way as well. This session, this course is web-based only. That means that we'll only be interacting via this Zoom feature here. It'll be happening from 1:15 to 2:30 p.m. Tuesdays and Thursdays via Zoom. If for whatever reason, some technical difficulty or some other thing that pops up, I will let you know that we may not be having that session, but go ahead and plan for us to meet on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 1:15 to 2:30 or thereabouts, depending on how much material we have. My office phone is listed there as well, 910-672-2611, and that forwards to my cell phone here as well. So that is the location and contact information you have for me. In addition, the Zoom meetings that we're having now, they're going to be like any regular classroom. So I'll be taking attendance in some fashion or form to include that in the calculation of your grade. So these Zoom sessions, again, 1:15 to 2:30 p.m. Slotted for you guys. Now I have here a question mark beside something. I have done this course several times. I have recordings for just about every topic that we do cover, and I do have those archived. And so I will have, I'm thinking about having some of these pre-recorded lectures available to you, but again, that'll be just for preparation. So I want to make sure we go through these live sections. All right, so that's where we are there. So the idea, again, I want to emphasize that the Zoom meetings are required so that you need to try to make a best effort to attend these sessions where possible. And if you aren't able to attend for whatever reason, let me know, or let me know soon after the meeting has occurred. Okay. Any questions so far before I keep going? I've been talking for a while now. Okay, so let's keep going then. All right, so the next item I want to cover is going to be what this course actually is. Okay, so we've done a few things, but let's talk a little bit about the course. The course is an introduction to psychology as a science and the application of the scientific method and understanding our behavior with emphasis on such behavioral phenomena as learning, motivation, emotions, problem solving, personality and development, behavior disorders, and of course, psychotherapy. We'll be covering all those topics in some fashion or form as we go through this course this semester. This is the textbook that we are using. The textbook is Exploring Psychology by David Myers. We're using the 2019 edition, 11th edition of Exploring Psychology. So the book should look like this if you have it, either an e-copy or a physical copy as well. Now let's just go over real quickly a few of the learning outcomes. And the learning outcomes basically are the things that we're hoping to accomplish when this course is over with. And there are usually a variety of ways in which we test whether or not we've met the outcomes that we've set for ourselves. the tests that you take during the semester, as well as sometimes a final exam and or a mandatory assessment, which is done sometimes. You guys are lucky enough that you won't have the mandatory psychology assessment that we normally have. We've done it for the last couple of years, and we don't need to do it every single year. So you guys are on a down year, so you won't be receiving that particular assignment. So upon completion of this course, students will be able to demonstrate basic knowledge and familiarity with the following. Be able to identify major psychological principles, the subfields of psychology, summarize how individuals are influenced by culture and the presence of others, demonstrate writing skills related to the identification, discussion, and analysis of theory and scientific findings in psychology, identify the causes of maladaptive behavior and the therapeutic approaches to changing people's behavior, identify or discuss issues related to the basic human brain, neurological and sensory functioning. So it will cover a variety of topics, and one will note that in psychology, it covers a very broad area, a really broad area, and that's why in many places where I've taught this before, the course is divided up into 2 semester courses, Psychology 1 and Psychology 2. Here at FSU, we do it all in one fell swoop. But there's a lot of material that we are attempting to cover this semester, so just bear with me as we go through this particular process. Now, as part of achieving these learning outcomes, we have this section called Mastering Learning Outcomes, and these are some of the things that will help you succeed in the course. Read and take notes on the identified chapters of the textbook, any associated supplemental lecture notes or any other reading material. It's always a good process to, as you read, you take notes. As you watch presentation, take notes. Take notes. It's just going to give you another way to get to that information so it settles into your mind more appropriately. Gather and organize relevant information to utilize for understanding the material, create summary of key points, document and to aid in studying the chapters and quizzes and all that type of stuff. So the more times that you can think about this material, write it down, organize it in your mind in a very convenient way for you, the better it will get into your brain, so it can be foundational knowledge and not something that you'll forget when the semester is over with. Another thing too, which is really good, and I always tell students when they come to me during office hours to do this, when we are talking about some sort of concept or idea, if you can relate it to yourself personally, make a story up about yourself utilizing that theory, concept, or idea, that does wonders in trying to make it more part of your memory and allow you to understand it much more easily than if you don't do those types of things. So the Mastering Learning Outcomes is just a way for us to try to communicate to you students things that we know will help you learn the material. Now, let's talk about the course components. These are the things that you will be graded on during this particular semester. First, there are going to be 5 unit exams. Okay, and the unit exam, as you'll see shortly, everything that I have for all my courses divided up into units or modules. So with these unit exams, there'll be 1 attempt per unit test. And once started, you must finish it. So once you open that unit exam, you have to finish it to its completion. There'll be 5 of them, and that all those tests, those 5 tests, will account for 30% of your final grade. Then there are going to be quiz homework assignments for each chapter or appendix that we cover in this course. There's going to be an associated quiz homework with it. With these quiz homework assignments, you can open them up, work on them for a while, and then save them, and then resume them later. So you can work on this as you're going through reading the material and work on the quiz assignments. And then once you feel comfortable with it, you can submit it, all right? And the quiz homework assignments will be 25% of your grade. Then there's going to be participation, discussion forums, and other activities. And these other activities will be laid out in the course as we go, but the discussion forums are something that you've already had some experience with already. The discussion forums like the one today, the one I mentioned today already, is the welcome and introductions. So there will be instructions with it, and we'll talk more about that in a second, but those together will account for 15% of your grade. And then there'll be the psychology current event paper. We'll talk more about that today, but also I'll have a special session recorded for you guys on that as well. And that will be another 15% of your course. And then finally, we will have a comprehensive final exam in this course this semester. And the way it works, it's going to be just included as unit exam number 6. So the last two things that we cover in this course is going to be therapy and IO psychology, the applied areas of psychology that we'll be talking about this semester. We'll have a certain focus on the final exam, but we will have items from all the previous chapters that we've covered in this course as well. And that will be 15% of your course grade. All right, I'm gonna pause there to see if there are any questions so far. You can either send it through chat or speak up if you have something so far. If not, I'll continue on. All right, so the next topic that I want to cover as part of the syllabus walkthrough is the discussion forums, okay? And usually, as you've probably noted already, the discussion forums usually have a little bit of instructions there to tell you what to do if it's something that's going to be graded. Discussion forums are designed to assess your ability to address and communicate on topics relevant to diverse areas of psychology and to generate an exchange of ideas with your fellow students. And all my discussion boards for the most part are set up so that you must post something before you can read the posts of other students. And normally the instructions are going to be as follows. Post should be spread over several days. So I just don't see that you get a really great deal of benefit if you do it all in one day at the last hour of the assignment. So spread them out to the best you can over a couple of days at least. You should make at least 4 posts. Your original post responding to whatever question I posed to you, and then responding to 3 of your classmates. In the post that you respond to your past classmates should be more than just saying good post or good job. It should be complete ideas and thoughts about whatever it is that they said in their post. And be sure to address the questions asked and follow the instructions provided if they are there. Someone asked about late work. I understand that people have jobs and lives and those types of things there. I do provide a little bit of wiggle room in this type of stuff when it comes to discussion boards. So if you are late, it's not going to kill you. It doesn't do that. So I'm not trying to take advantage or dig students unnecessarily. The idea is that I will be logical and convenient. If there is some sort of issue, late work will be okay. But again, that is the idea, is to try to be mindful of the timing for the course. And we'll be talking about timing issues a little bit later in this presentation as well, so that we are aware of what the due dates are and things of that nature. Okay, so what is next is going to be discussion forum guidelines in your syllabus. You would have noted as well, I provide some rough guidelines as to what I look for in the discussion post as I grade them. And usually the discussion posts are going to be 10 points, okay? So here it is. Are concepts clearly and adequately addressed? What we're looking at are things like this. Were the requested items clearly and adequately answered, indicating proper understanding of this topic? So did you seem to understand the question? Was the item addressed in a way that indicates the effort of the writer to provide a thoughtful and considered response, meaning that you just didn't throw something out that it was easy to say, that you really thought about it a little bit? And were examples provided, if that makes sense, and were the instructions followed? So again, we can see 1 to 5. And then, is the writing clear? Was the writing clear and easy to follow? Was the writing free from errors? At all times, try to avoid the types of writing that you usually have when you're texting your friends or colleagues or emails, those types of things. So that is something that you want to try to avoid. Particularly for me, I give you a little bit more wiggle room and freedom, but some other instructors, they're going to be very, very specific on that. Hold on for a second. Let me read a question here. So when we respond to other people's discussion posts, we spread out the time of our responses. Or do you mean just don't wait last minute to do everything at once? Basically what it comes down to, if you are responding thoughtfully to others and it's clear that you're responding thoughtfully, you're not just doing good posts and all that type of stuff, and you provide a really good, well thought out, original post, whatever the question was, that's probably not going to present a problem. What I'm just trying to avoid, as this person points out, is people doing it last minute. That's really what I'm trying to avoid. I mean, let's say, for example, I'm closing the discussion board at 12 o'clock in the morning or 11:59 in the evening, and somebody logs on at 11:50 and does all the work last minute. That is what I'm trying to avoid primarily, okay? All right, so this is the rough rubric that I employ for me grading my discussion, your discussion boards and the forms I've set up for you guys. Now let's talk a little bit about the paper. I'm sure all of you have written papers before. This is not a paper that you should be afraid of whatsoever. Okay, it's really going to be a really brief paper, and I keep it purposely brief for a variety of reasons. One, I have to read them. Last semester, I don't even want to talk about last semester, I had on occasion to read over 200 plus papers, and where I can, I will try to shrink the papers where possible, just to make sure that I can meet the goal of the assignment. And the goal of this assignment is to find current events, research, and other media that relate to the concepts of psychology and to get practice applying the concepts and writing about them. So people have done newspaper articles from reliable websites, and I will open it up as well. Even though I didn't put it in for you guys this semester, I have had people do TV episodes or movies, but those assignments are a little bit different. So if you are interested in that, just let me know and I'll pass those along to you. It's sort of a different approach that you have to take for that. Okay, now one of the things about the paper assignments, and we'll see this a little bit later, I do have some resources available for you on Canvas that talks about how it is that you need to understand about academic writing. And so this is not going to be a really formal type of paper, but I want you to have at least some experience with certain forms of the academic writing, like citations and things of that nature. Okay, this is the quick paper rubric that I employ for these short paper assignments in my 210 class. One, the first item is just looking at whatever source that you did use that you are relying on to talk about the article, the current event, whatever that topic is it from some sort of reliable source. Okay, you could have the topic approved by me or the source approved by me. That'll ensure it, but I have several links on your Canvas site that we'll talk about a little bit later. If it comes from those sources, usually it's going to be okay and reliable. Next, properly formatted cover page and follow required paper sequence. And so that's listed as well, what types of things I want to be covered and in what sequence. And then properly formatted citations and references in the references section. And I want to get you used to doing that, particularly those of you who are in psychology and some of the other areas where I know they have paper assignments in the upper level classes that you'll have to do. You need to be familiar with the proper way to cite references and those types of things as well. Paper free of spelling and errors as much as possible. And the three main things are going to be the following, which is going to be the key to the short papers here. Adequately introduced article, current event source, meaning you have introduced where this source is from, what it's about, and those types of things. And then you successfully summarize the article so we know that you've read it and you understand what this article or this current event source is doing and why they're doing it. And then finally, the key point is correctly relating the content of this current event source to the psychological ideas, theories, and principles that are going to be covered in this particular course. So that's what is the point of this paper. Now, as I mentioned, there are several sources available to you already on your Canvas site, and here are some screenshots of that. So there's a module there called Paper Topic Resources. where it talks about the first blue arrow points to the APA for academic writing. And that just gives you sort of a little cheat sheet about how it is that you can cite YouTube videos, how it is that you can cite news segments, those types of things, which are going to be something that you should get some practice with, again, if you're going to continue writing for academic environments. And then at the very bottom of this, we have the blue arrow pointing to links to news sources, which are seen normally as being reliable. Here we see PSYC which is related to the APA, I believe, Psych Central News, so it has a, sort of like a clearinghouse for all the psychology news around, and usually if you find it there, it's a reliable source and you can read those articles and things of that nature. And then we have the New York Times Health. And so any big news source most likely has something like that, and again, normally they are reliable. And to the right of this screen, we have a sample paper, and you can see it much more clearly when you access it on your Canvas site. This says Psychology News. Working Americans are getting less sleep, especially those who save our lives. So it's talking about people who are the first responders. So this individual, this student, found an article on that and then wrote about that as their particular course, current event, topic, and then follow the process that are outlined on your Canvas site and in your syllabus. All right, moving on. First, any questions real quickly about that before I move on, about the papers? Again, we'll have some additional information about that in a future session, but if there's something that's killing you right now that you got to know, you can ask me, except for page length. All right, nothing so far. Okay, so let's keep going. All right, so now what I want to talk to you about is the schedule. Now, in your syllabus, you see what is really considered sort of like a brief schedule. It just covers some of the highlights, okay? There are 6 units in this course. Each unit will identify assigned chapters, provide lecture slides, and selected video links. Each unit will include a quiz homework assignment and may include a form question or questions. And any other assignments or unit exam it may include as well. We'll see those listed in the more detailed schedule on the Canvas site. But what I want to point to here is the following. On your syllabus, on the schedule there, you'll see the days that we actually meet. Today is January 26th, week 1 of our semester, and we can see 26 and 28. So we'll be meeting again on Thursday. So that just tells you where we're supposed to be and what are going to be the plan for topic at that time as we have that session. If we go down to week 1 and 2, we can see that most likely on the 28th, we'll probably be getting into some content of chapter 1 at that time. So we'll see we'll be covering chapter 1, thinking critically with psychological science, and some of the items that we'll be covering. And we have at least 1, 2, 3 to 2 days planned to cover those particular topics. And then you can see the other discussion item, discussion forum there. What is the relationship between a theory and research? So again, that just gives you an idea of some key things that we'll be doing in a very brief way and the dates that we're going to be meeting. All right. So let's talk about Canvas a little bit here. Canvas is our learning management system here at the school. And when you log into Canvas, you can see you'll arrive in the syllabus section, okay? But then if you click onto modules, the one that I have circled there, that's how you access your material. I'm sure most people have already done it, but I'm just walking through the numbers here. You can see there are a few other modules there. We have course student learning outcomes and expectations, the paper topic resources we've already mentioned briefly before, the APA resources and videos available to you as well. But what I have circled at the bottom there is unit number 1, and that's where we are today. Unit number 1, we have the dates for that unit, January 25th to February 14th with a test on February 15th. So that just tells us real quickly by looking at that unit, that's the time frame and the day of the test for that particular unit for that course material. So when you click onto that link, you'll see this. Okay, so here we see the week. So here we have the weeks listed, not just as the days that we're going to meet in a live session, but the basic block of time for that full week. So we're talking January 25th to January 31st. Okay, and that means everything listed there is going to have a due date of that time. We'll talk about due dates in a second here, but the due dates, I just want to warn you here, or just comfort you by saying this: a due date within a unit is something to keep you on track so you don't get too far behind. But the real due date is going to be the date that we conclude that particular unit. So this particular unit closes February 15th. So you still can do some stuff. The late stuff may ding you a bit here or there, but you still can turn that stuff in and do those things, even if it's rather late, as long as it's done before that February 15th. It's going to be a little bit more harsh. For example, let's say we're in unit 4 and you finally complete something if you still have access to it in unit 1. When I'm doing final calculations, if it's something that was automatically graded, I may take some points off. If I have to grade it, you may get a little bit of ding from your points there. Okay, so we have week 1, a block of time. Then if we move over to the far right column, we see assignments and activities. We see the Zoom link, which is, again, just the way that you have access to the sessions here today. I'm going to think that once I provide you this link, you can save it carefully so I don't have to have Zoom links all over the place, that you have placed it someplace so that you can easily access it when you need to get to class, which is the Zoom session. You can see also the welcome and introductions form, which some of you have already started doing. And I have listed here, this is your opportunity to get ahead. We are not working with content the day, but you can go ahead and start working ahead as much as you want to, as long as that stuff is available to you, okay? So you can do that. There's no problem with doing that. But again, if there's something that needs to be graded, realize that you're working ahead. You won't be seeing it graded until a little bit later. All right, so we move down to week 2. We can see something that is pointed there. That is the lecture slides, okay? The standard lecture slides, which may differ from my presentation slides, but the slides are there for you to print out if you wish, to annotate, to make notes on, and things of that nature. Moving to the right again, you'll see there's a video, psychological research video, that you can click on and review that. And then there's the chapter 1 quiz homework there for chapter 1, which you can open, save, and resume later as you're working on the material. Okay, so chapter 1 will be worked on for the most part in week 2. We'll start on it this week, but most of the meat will be happening in week 2. You see also what is the relationship between a theory and research will be the form for that particular week as well. And we have a sample current event paper located at the bottom in the middle, and the APA for academic writing PDF there. So I try to make certain things available to you when I think they're important at various locations so you have access to them. And then finally, for this particular Canvas unit run through here, we have the following. Week 3, which will be focusing on chapter 2, the biology of behavior. We have the videos listed there as well as discussion question as well as chapter 2 quiz homework for the biology of behavior. So our first unit only covers 2 chapters, chapter 1 and chapter 2. And on February 15th, as we can see at the bottom of this particular slide, that's when the unit 1 exam will be due, by February 15th, 11:59 p.m. Now, if you click on that unit exam now, hopefully it won't open, okay? The way it normally works is once that thing is open, you finish it, all right? Now, unit 1 exams will usually open, or unit exams will usually open the Friday before that due date. So what that means, the Friday before February 15th, the unit exam is going to be there and ready for you. So you have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday to take care of it. All right, any questions so far? I will normally provide a study guide or some other guide to give you some ideas of some of the things that you can focus on in preparation for your unit exam. There doesn't seem to be any chats for questions now. Yes, what do you have? You have a question? Taylor?
Yes, sorry, I didn't know if you preferred in the chat window for everybody or just on speaker here, but
that's fine. Go
when
ahead.
the exam, You said that the exam is on like February 15th. So in this example, February 15th falls on a Monday. You said that previous Friday is when it opens. So it'd be like the 12th, it would open up.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So basically, the way it works is as I finish material, what I've done here is try to mimic the way it is when I have my face-to-face classes, and I use online quite a bit even for my face-to-face classes. So as I finish or get ready to finish material, I want to have the stuff available to the students who are ready to go and get it out of the way. So it opens up usually February. If it's February 12th, it'll open up and it'll be ready for you Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday till 11:59 p.m. Okay, so moving on to the next thing here that I want to make sure we're aware of, because I want to make sure you are aware of what the timing is for our particular assignments. All right, so when you get to Canvas and you click on our course card, our course link, it takes you to the syllabus page. And at the bottom of the syllabus page is the course summary, okay? And that provides you a really convenient schedule and due dates for assignments. Sometimes there'll be a due date, sometimes there'll be a to-do, okay? And basically what that is that the due date basically says there's something that most likely can be graded and it should be done by, as we can see here, I have it circled, Sunday, February 7th, 11:59 p.m. That will be the following things: the Appendix A quiz, Chapter 1 quiz, what is the relationship between a theory and research forum, discussion forum, by 11:59 p.m. Sunday, February 14th, we'll have the Chapter 2 quiz, the Split Brain forum, and then on February 15th, we see exam 1 by 11:59 p.m. February 15th. So if you go to your syllabus tab on your Canvas site, the course summary just tells you all the things that are due and when they're due. I always think it's more convenient for students to go to check on themselves here, but to work through the assignments, go to modules, and then click onto the unit link, and then you'll see that little table format. And what I've done there, I make sure that you have access to materials that I think you'll need in order to complete your assignments. And you can always double check yourself and make sure you don't miss the due dates with the syllabus here with the course summary. Okay. All right, so that sort of wraps up a majority of the things I wanted to cover for the logistics today. And that is, we got some practice getting around our Zoom. We made some introductions. We conducted the syllabus walkthrough, and we just finished completing the review of the Canvas unit format online and walk through that as well. And now what we're going to do is do a little bit of a brief orientation to psychology, followed by if there are any questions for you guys. Before I move on to the orientation for psychology, are there any logistical questions? If you don't have any right now, you can always email me later or bring them up a little bit later when we meet again on Thursday. I'll have some time to see if there's any questions that you may have. Okay, we seem all cool so far. All right, so let's move on then. So what we're doing now is doing a really brief psychology orientation. Again, this is the type of stuff that I would normally do in our face-to-face class to get people to think a little bit about psychology, maybe in a different way, maybe in the same way, but more deeply about what we are going to be doing over the course of the semester. So what is psychology? In your own words, or closest to it as you can, I would like for you guys to just type it out on chat. Just type out in a real one or two, a sentence or so, what you think psychology is. What does it mean to you? What is it? Just go ahead and do that. I'll get back to you in a second. All the responses seem very much on target. One thing I can specify to a large degree, psychology is a very wonderful and diverse field, but you should know and understand that to a large extent, psychology is not species specific, meaning that a lot of the research that is done in psychology will be done on animals. In fact, we learn a lot about animals that help us to understand human behaviors quite clearly and more legitimately. Also, it should be noted, and we'll see this in a future chapter, that animal behavior and human behavior in certain areas, not that different at all. It's really kind of scary at some point. But the idea is that psychology is a broad field and it covers a lot of things, and you will probably get a sense of that as we go through this course this semester. And psychology is, for the most part, all the things that you guys are mentioning and then some, to a very large extent. Okay, so that is what psychology is. It is, to a large extent, as most of you have pointed out, about behavior and about the mind. It can be about human behavior and mind. It can be about animal behavior and mind. It can be about how we develop, how we relate to each other, how we sense and perceive things. It just covers the whole gambit. Any area that you can possibly think of, there's probably some sort of psychological bent to it. That's one of the reasons why psychology is a really huge field, and you can get a bunch of psychologists together at a party, and they can be from different areas of psychology, and there'll be only a few things they can really talk about. And that's going to be one of the things, because the fields are so different and it's so diverse, that human behavior in general, is a very diverse and wide area. So let's go ahead and move on to talk about some of the things, what we mean by what is psychology. All right, so this next slide is, what is psychology? Well, as many of you pointed out, it is about our behavior and our mental processes. Okay, our being a more global, inclusive term here. Behavior and mental processes being the key items. How we behave, or how a creature behaves, and what are the mental processes, how it is that they do cognition, how it is that they think. Now, the people who are psychologists, the people who are trained in this, as I am and as others are, and as many of you will become, these psychologists are portrayed in movies and television. Okay, and normally when they're portrayed in movies and television, I have yet to see in my life so far a movie or TV show that follows the life and trials and tribulations of an IO psychologist, an industrial organizational psychologist. We normally don't see it. What we normally see portrayed in movies and television are going to be the therapists, okay, and the criminal profilers. Therapists are going to be anyone who has clients or patients that they see usually in their office during the day, where they talk about their problems and they try to give the client skills and perspective on the things that they're dealing with in their life. Criminal profilers are going to be the ones who try to get into the mind of a serial criminal or serial killer to try to figure out what they're going to do next so that they can be caught. All right, so those are the things that we normally see portrayed in movies and television, because they are the things of drama. Okay, but what we'll see as we go through this course, there are many other types of psychologists, and they will be explored as we go through this course. There's a whole list of them, pages of them. And the idea is that all these different psychologists, they are focusing on different types of things. They may have different types of methodologies that they employ, but key to all the areas of psychology is research. Okay, and this research is something that we'll be talking about a little bit more either later this week or next week. But the whole point of the research is to answer questions about behavior and about mental processes in a very systematic fashion, so that we are comfortable knowing that when we look at the results, we're comfortable in saying, yes, I have confidence in the results that we found. And then they can make recommendations to how they're going to treat people, how people should be educated, a whole host of things, because psychology is a very, very broad area. So that gives us to a very simple extent what psychology is, and some of the things that we'll be seeing throughout this particular semester. Now, let us examine some visual aspects of psychology. Okay, so this is going to be some part of a participation part of the course here. All right, so I'm going to put up this next slide, and I guess the thumbs up doesn't really work, but because I didn't see any thumbs up, but I did see people say up, so we'll go with that. This next slide here, look at this for a few seconds, the slide I'm about ready to show you, the image I'm about ready to show you, and just type up if you know what it is. Don't say it and don't type it. Don't type what you think you see, and don't type whatever it is that you think you see. Just say up, meaning that, yes, you do see something in this image. And here's the image now. So no one's saying anything. You're looking at the image, and then you're just going to type up or provide a thumbs up if you can figure out how to do it if you see something. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So far, so good. All right, so it seems like a good majority of you already have seen something. Now, if you haven't seen anything, if it doesn't make sense to you what you're seeing now, just type in down. So I see if there's someone having an issue seeing what we are seeing. So far, no, so I'll just keep moving on then. All right, so next here, this is what we're seeing. Man or mouse, an old man or a mouse. Let me know via the chat if you saw something different. To this date, I've had a few students over the years or decades say that they see a chicken, all right? I've yet to really determine what's wrong with those individuals, but I've yet to really see the chicken. They try to point out, but I just don't see a chicken. I've yet to see it. Okay, cool. So I'm seeing the expected responses. People are normally seeing a man or a mouse. Some can see both. They can flip back and forth. And we'll see why that is a little bit later when we get to a chapter that focuses on Gestalt psychology. So moving on with this idea, let's move on to this. Sensation and perception. That's what we just saw. It deals with sensation and perception, a chapter that we'll be seeing in the future here, but that's what it is. We all see the same lines, dashes, and dots, etc. Okay, that's what is sensation. We're all getting the same input. Some of us may be seeing a little bit blurrier than others because we don't have perfect vision, okay? But we're seeing the same lines, dashes, dots, etc. That is what we mean by sensation. The electromagnetic waves is impinging upon our specialized receptors in our eyeballs so we can sense this information. But how we make sense of it, okay, differs. And that is about perception. Okay, so the idea here is that there is a difference between sensation and perceptions. Sensation, we all see the same dots, dashes, lines. Perception, some of us see a man and some of us see a mouse. So let me show you real quickly here, for those of you who may have some difficulty seeing the other item here in this image. This first dot here, that is the chin of the old man or the tail of the mouse. So that first blue line arrow is the chin of the old man or the tail of the mouse. The next one here is the eyes of the old man or the ears of the mouse. And finally, here, this last blue arrow points to the ear of the old man or the back leg of the mouse. So again, we see man, old man, or mouse. And believe it or not, in classes, I used to be able to predict who was going to see what. Let me describe to you what I used to do in my face-to-face classes. Before I showed them an image of anything, I would pass them out a brief handout, and there'll be a short story, like 2 or 3 sentence story. Half the class, unbeknownst to them, half the class received a short story on nursing homes. Okay, the other class received a short story on pest control. All right, so they read these short stories, and then I'd lecture, and then I would show this image to the whole class, and I would tell them to write down what it is they see. And the class that read the short story about a nursing home, they would tend to see the old man. The ones who read the short story about pest control, they would tend to see the mouse. So we'll talk more about how and what that meant when I was able to convince them what to see, called priming. But the idea is that sensation and perception, some wonderful ideas here because they are different. And you can see with your friend the same thing, but make sense of it in a different way. That could be a speech given by somebody, it could be a TV show, or it could be an image, but we perceive things differently than what our senses may tell us. So that gives us one example of some of the things that we'll be covering in our course this term. So now, this next slide I want to show you, I want you to read it, okay? Take your time, and it should not be too difficult for you. Now, let me go ahead and read it. I'm sure most of you have read most of it already. But basically what it comes down to, most people can read this without too much difficulty. And the words here really tell you why that is. So according to a research at an English university, it doesn't matter and what order the letters in a word are. The only important thing is that the first and last letter is at the right place. The rest can be a total mess, and you can still read it without a problem. This is because we do not read every letter by itself, but the word as a whole. Okay? So this gives us some enlightenment to some extent as to what's going on here. It still deals with sensation and perception. All right, so this is why proofing our own paper can be difficult. Okay, sometimes expectations influence. We know what the word is that we wanted to write there, and sometimes we make it up that we saw the correct word even though it's not the correct word. So what it comes down to is that our expectations can influence us, and we do not always perceive what is really there. That is kind of scary in a way. What is really there and what we think is really there does not actually have to match. And that's what we mean by this title of this slide, perception and sensation mismatch, because they can be different. What you see may not be what you think you see. And that's the whole point of illusions, by the way. I'm going to pause there and see if there are any questions or comments that anyone has at this time. Has anybody seen this particular slide before, according to a researcher at an English university? Or was it new to you? Okay. So most people have seen this and are familiar with what it basically means by way of your sensation and your perception, and also understanding that what goes on in our mind or as we are piecing things together in our cognition is not necessarily something that matches the real world. So this really gives a little bit more weight to the idea that our perception is our reality, which is true. Our perception is a reality. How we make sense of things is real to us. No matter what other people may tell us, it may not be able to convince us because we have our own sort of truth, so to speak. All right, so that gives us introduces us to a concept we will be examining a little bit more later on. But here are some other types of concepts that we will be covering. I'll just cover a few of them. This is also listed in your syllabus, and we have it listed by units here. So basically, in the first unit, which is where we are now, we'll be discussing such things about the brief history of psychology, where it comes from, okay, and where does the history mean to us? Research design, how it is that we use research to answer big questions. We'll also understand about statistics when we look at Appendix A, I believe, in this course. And then we'll look at the brain, the structure of the brain, the old and new brain, brain and behavior. We'll be able to look at someone who had half their brain removed and yet they still can function. We'll be talking about people who are split brains, where they have this thing called the corpus callosum that's severed in them, and we'll see they have two independent brains working within the same individual. It's amazing things what we have learned about the brain and our behavior. Then we'll move on to Unit 2, which will focus on things like our consciousness, the state of awareness that we have about ourselves and our environment, how that state of consciousness can be changed by taking certain drugs. We'll also talk about gender roles, how it is that we learn about what it means to be a boy and a girl, or a man and a woman, and about sexual orientation, what the research tells us about how orientation may be determined before we're even born. We'll then look in Unit 3, we'll be looking at things like sensation perception, which we had a little bit of a hint of today by looking at such things as transduction and perception. We'll also look about how it is that we learn through classical conditioning, through observational learning, through operant conditioning, and show us how it is that we can be modified or programmed, and what parents do all the time, because parents, all of parenting to a large extent is going to be about operant conditioning. When you punish somebody for doing something wrong, the child did something wrong, you punish them. They did something good, you reward them. So we'll see that come to life in psychology when we study that particular item in Unit 3. In Unit 4, we'll look at motivation like hungers and needs. We'll also look at social psychology there too, looking at such things as obedience. Would you harm somebody who's innocent of any crime if somebody told you to do that? We'll see some classic research where people did that very thing and what it means when people do that type of stuff. In Unit 5, we'll look at some of the things, looking at Freud's, Neo-Freudian's personality, what that means and how personality measurements can be used in business and the world out there, and looking at types of psychological disorders. And then we'll wrap it up in Unit 6, looking at the types of therapy and the roles of IO psychologists. Now, I'll try to put some stuff in there too about some forensic psychology as well, since I know there may be a few of you that are interested in that too. So that, in essence, is what's going to be next in this course throughout the remainder of this semester. So what we've done so far, we've practiced getting around with Zoom. We've done our introductions. We've had the syllabus walkthrough, the Canvas run through. We've had the psychology orientation. And so what I'm going to leave it up to you guys for is to see if there are any questions that you may have that I can provide some answers to. But before we get there, I will tell you what will happen next is this. When we meet on Thursdays, we'll be focusing on Chapter 1 material, okay? And so the slide lecture is going to be more aligned to what you see in your notes already on your Canvas site. Okay, so that's it that's all I had to talk about there. So are there any questions that you have now as we approach 2:30? Any questions? If you don't have any questions, just please type no. All right, great. I'm going to check one more time to see if anybody has shown up in class that I was not able to call for earlier. I'm sure I have it in my data here, but just in case. Is Belgrave present? Campbell? Jean? Richardson? Roberts? Sweeney? Watson? Okay, that's all I had as being missing. There doesn't appear to be any questions from anybody. So that will conclude our first class session. I will see you guys on Thursdays if there's nothing else. And there doesn't appear to be anything else. I'm going to be ending the meeting shortly. So you guys have a great day, and I'll see you a little bit later. Bye.